I read you work with a lot of different people, also with a producer that did electronic music, rock music, dance music.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's very different of your soul music, so why also that influences?
Well, I think I felt from the very beginning that I'm very strong in my own sense of self, in that no matter who I work with, when I bring to the table, will immediately kind of bring the sound back to me. You know, so if I work with a hip hop producer, no matter what, if I'm just gonna start singing on it and put my own style to it, it's still gonna come back to me, which I think is really like kind of an amazing benefit. I mean, I feel really happy and proud of that, because that means we were able to really change the way we wrote and the way we produced the songs. But when I step up to the microphone and start singing, you're just like, oh, that's Eli Paperboy Reed record. But because it wasn't in the same bag or the same niche as everything else, we could throw the rule book away and make any kind of record that we wanted to. You know, with Come and Get It, it was like, I'm really, really proud of that record, and I think it's great. But it's, you know, I wrote those songs in a style. They're very stylized. And I love that style, and it's like the most important thing as far as influence to me. But when you work in the realm of pop music, there really aren't a lot of boundaries. So you can kind of do whatever you want, which is great. It's really freeing.
Can you pick one specific song on the album where you can hear all those influences?
Sure.
Which one is it?
I think for me it would be Grown Up.
Yeah?
Yeah. Either Grown Up or both Well All Right Now and Grown Up, I think. There's a lot, actually, I think. But Grown Up in particular, like, the melody to me is still kind of has the hallmarks of soul music that I love, and the groove is this loping kind of southern, it has this fat backbeat, but there's also like really heavy synths going on and some samples and electronic drums and a ton of backing vocals, and we used talkbox on things, so it's like all these different elements kind of thrown together. Like there's like really funky live drums and funky bass, but then all of a sudden you got this other stuff in there, and then you have me on top of it. And lyrically, it's also kind of where I want to be these days, talking about something that could be from any era. It's not like it's so specific, you know, love song or this and that. It's very, I wanted to make something that was more universal, I suppose.
And is it also the most personal song for you on the album?
It's pretty personal for me. It actually is, yeah. You know, and I think it's sort of the truth, in that I hope that this album is something that I've grown into, and I hope I continue to grow as an artist. And you know, I've been doing this for 10 years now. 10 years is a pretty long time. It's, you know, it's just about a third of my life. Yeah. You know, so like, and really like almost all of my like adult life that I've been doing this. So I hope that I've learned something, and I hope that I've grown up, you know.
What things did you learn in those years?
Well, I learned a lot about, you know, about being you know, what it's like to be a touring musician, and, you know, whether or not this was the right thing for me, and just about, you know, I sort of grew up on the road, you know. I grew up, I learned, I opened my mind to different food and different culture. Like when I was like, started touring, I was 23 years old, you know, and I'd probably like, you know, never ate a salad, you know, and I would just like go, and now I'm touring all these different countries, and people would just put stuff in front of me, and if you're gonna eat, that's what you gotta eat, you know. And food is always a good metaphor for culture for me, you know, food and music. So like, and because of that, you know, I was able to open my mind a lot, and also open my mind a ton to new music, you know, also touring with a great group of guys who came from all different backgrounds, who can be like, man, you should, if you like that, you should check this out, you know, stuff that I never would have checked out on my own.
That's still important for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
What was the first song you wrote for this album?
Actually, the first song we wrote was Shock to the System.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
It was the first, we went out and did the first ever session that we did to Los Angeles, myself and Ryan. We had worked on some other stuff previously, but this was the first time we finished. And so I went and we're in session with Michael Fitzpatrick from the band Fitz and the Tantrums, and a great producer by the name of Dave Bassett. And it was the first session we'd ever done with any other writers, and it just kind of came together super fast. excuse me. And, you know, we did it in 4 or 5 hours, and I sent it to my manager, and I was like, does this, you know, sound like what we should be doing? You know, I didn't really know how to take it. And he's like, this is great, this is perfect. You know, this is exactly the blend of the new and the old. And so we kind of, from that point on, had a little bit of a framework of what we wanted to do, you know, and how we wanted to approach writing the rest of the music.
Was it also a bit of a relief?
A little bit of a relief, but also a little bit of like, oh man, we got a lot of work ahead of us to try to replicate this particular sound that we've created and try to make a dozen more songs. By the end of it, we had 30 songs that we picked from for this record.
Okay.
So it's a lot, you know.
Yeah, I mean, oh. Back then, did you already knew what kind of sound you would like to have, what you like to prefer for this album when you wrote that first song?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think we learned as we went. I think, like I said, I have some particular hallmarks, and I wanted it to be sonically kind of aggressive and exciting, but also I think that it was really important to have super strong melody that people could latch onto. Because I think a lot of the time with soul music, it's not necessarily about the melody, but it's about the singer and like the virtuosity of the singer. But I wanted to make soulful records, but that people could also just sing along to. You know, that you didn't have to be the greatest singer in the world to just pick up on, you know, nights like this, whatever. It's like, it's a little simple, but that's okay. You know, that's the kind of thing that people hear once and they got it, you know?
Well, the album calls Nights Like This.
Yeah.
What does it mean for you?
We were writing the song, and it, for me, it's very evocative of just like, we'll be on tour sometimes in the summertime and just like, you know, on a hot night. I mean, for me, it reminds me actually a lot of Los Angeles. Just walk, you know, because I spent a lot of time there working on the record, and we, as a band, we spent a lot of time there. Just like, you know, we would stay on this little seedy hotel on Sunset Boulevard, and, you know, you don't want to stay in the hotel room, so it's hot at night. We just go out walking, see the people walking around, you know, trying to make something happen. Nights like this, you know, it's like, that was what it was. Like, you want to just like create something out of nothing. You know, you have the electricities in the air. You want it to happen. So that's sort of what it meant. That was the idea for the song.
Well, the album is overall very happy, energetic. Is there also a serious side of that album?
I think to a degree. I mean, there's a couple of songs that I think are a little bit more serious, Lonely World and Two Broken Hearts and stuff like that. But it's also like, you know, I don't necessarily feel like you need to run the gamut emotionally on a record. I think that I'm okay with making a kind of an up and happy and summertime kind of fun record. And that's like, for me, it's all right, you know? I'm in that sort of space in my life where I think these are fun songs you can latch onto and just have a good time. I don't need to be, you know, I did my sad sack records, you know, at least right now, and, you know, maybe I'll do them again, but for this one, I want it to be happy.
Okay. Where does all the inspiration for the album come from?
I mean, I think a lot. I mean, I just got married, and this was great about a year and a half ago, and you know, I'm like I said, I'm in a happy space in my life, and I'm listening to a lot of great music. I think there's a lot of great pop music out there, and also a lot of great soul music that I'm still discovering. You know, so I think it's just like a lot of stuff that, you know, and it was really cool to work with different writers and kind of see their process, and, you know, so sometimes like a song would just come out, you know, and we just start talking about whatever and be like, man, that sounds like a song. That should be something, you know. So it's not necessarily a record that like has an overarching inspirational theme, but I mean, I think if anything, it's just like, it's a good time, fun record, you know. And for me, that's okay. I'm happy about that.
And can you give me a few examples of artists you listen to?
Sure.
Discover now?
Oh man, we listen to a lot of Beyonce, that's for sure. I love Beyonce.
Oh, why is that?
And I'm a big fan. I think she's good. We do a Beyonce song in the set, yeah.
Also the moves, or just,
No, not even close. But she's killer, man. I actually like a lot of female singers these days because I have a high voice, so I can respond to a lot of female singers. Who else? You know, I think that I like Fun. I think Fun made great records, and as far as pop goes, but you know, I'm always listening to gospel quartet music. I'm listening to R&B. You know, I constantly find inspiration listening to, you know, Roscoe Robinson and you know, Otis Clay and those kind of singers that really just go for it. You know, I think there's great music still to be discovered.
And you listen to your 45s?
I listen to my 45s, yeah, absolutely. And I DJ and I play, you know. I mean, I'll DJ gospel sometimes too, and that's fun, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.